Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Peter Barber. I'm a professional singer and music producer, and today we are back with Diana Ankudinova and Brandon Stone, who will be a new artist to the channel. Brandon Stone I'm unfamiliar with, but I know he is a Georgian-German music producer, composer, singer. He's 44. And he's written a ton of music, has had so much success as a songwriter. And without further ado, let's check it out. The Day You, performed by Diana Ankudinova and Brandon Stone.
Встречайте на этой сцене Диана Анкудинова и Брэндон Стоун.
С Новым годом!
Счастья вам!
Потерял я смысл календаря, проживаю снова дни сентября. Что со мной? Что со мной? Может, я всю жизнь тебя ждала, может, для тебя сердце берегла. Что со мной? Где покой? Свои
This is absolutely stunning, and you know, in the accompaniment track we just have piano, so it's just voice and piano, and I love that. As a classical singer, this is very much like recital orchestration, just piano and voice. Of course, they have microphones and it's in a big space, and we'll see if more orchestra comes in later, but right now just piano and voice. They're singing in the same exact vocal register, so he very much, and actually you heard this when they both spoke at the beginning, he very much sounds like a tenor, very high male voice type, and she's, of course, you know, one of the lowest kinds of female voice types. Many people consider her to be a contralto. So we're in C minor now. So we'll see what kind of pitch they were getting around to there, but really interesting that they're both singing in the exact same range. And really enjoying hearing Brandon's voice for the first time. Go back to the start here.
Потерял я смысл календаря, проживаю снова дни сентября. Что со мной? Что со мной?
It's such an intimate, breathy way of singing. Just very breathy and light, allowing all this air to come through the voice. It's like he's whispering it right into your ear. And we'll see what this piece is about. I don't really know, but this sounds like a very intimate conversation happening here. He goes only down to F3. So we are very much in this, I would assume, Brandon's middle voice. The range here is only F3 to C4, so we're right in the middle. And then that makes sense. That's about, you know, getting to F3 is getting towards the bottom of Diana's comfortable chest range. She can, of course, sing down to about the C below that. But F is about when, you know, she starts needing to kind of recruit more to get down to those notes. I love his voice. It's so breathy. He's putting nice vibrato into the sound. There's so much thought into the text he's saying, and thankfully I think we actually have some decent captions up for this video. I'm going to go back just a few seconds, and then we'll get into Diana's lines.
Со мной, что со мной? Может, я всю жизнь тебя ждала, может, для тебя сердце берегла. Что со мной? Где покой?
Yeah, you can tell it's getting towards the bottom. She can obviously go lower, but the bottom of her like nice, comfortable range is probably about there. She's doing something really interesting here. She's leaning into the start of the phrases and then actually pulling off and allowing the voice to be softer when she goes up to the higher note. Which is a really cool effect.
Может, для тебя сердце бьет, я всю жизнь тебя ждала. Может, для тебя сердце берегла. Что со мной? где покой.
Свои чувства мне сложно так понять.
Я с тобой научилась летать.
They were getting some of that really dark color. I mean, it's amazing. Her voice is, range-wise, I think actually quite similar to Brandon's, but her voice is actually much darker, which is so interesting to hear that. You never hear that. It's pretty much always the opposite, right? Her voice is much darker. And this is, of course, something I've commented on a lot with Diana's singing, is just the raw color of her voice is very uniquely dark. And I think that's mainly why people consider her to be a contralto, because of the vocal color. Her range, her low range, is relatively low, but it's not super low. It's actually not a super low voice for a woman, but it's a very dark color. So I think that's why she gets the contralto labeling so often. His voice is just beautiful. I think he was up to an E flat there above middle C, and just very light, easy, still keeping it breathy and intimate. He's not having to recruit any big power here, no big belting yet. And I believe this is what we would consider to be a pre-chorus. And then we'll see, they'll probably start singing at the same time in the chorus. I'm hoping so.
Где покой.
Свои чувства мне сложно так понять.
Я с тобой научилась летать.
Нежно утону в тебе, окутаю весной. Задыхаюсь от любви, накрыло все волной.
Yeah, he just has a beautiful voice. I really, really like it. He, all the way up to high G there, still very comfortable. Now we're getting up into that belt range. He's really stretching the vocal folds. He's getting up to where it's a more powerful sound. There's more vocal fold closure, which means the sound gets more efficient. So there's less air going through his vocal folds when he's singing. This creates a brighter, more powerful, more efficient sound. And he's just very comfortable all the way up through high G. It's just a really wonderful, easy voice. And he's only recruiting power in the top, probably because, you know, as we get into a chorus, generally that's where the emotions start kind of running hot in the text. But I need to watch these captions and see what they're saying here.
Нежно утону в тебе, окутаю весной.
Yeah.
Задыхаюсь от любви, накрыло все волной.
Ты нежно дверь моей души открыл своим ключом. День, когда ты вошел в мой дом.
So Diana singing up in a very light vocal mechanism for her, right? She's fully disconnected from her chest voice up into her head voice here. And so it's very light, it's very breathy, it's airy, it's ethereal. And now she does take her range far above Brandon's the first time we've heard that. So she gets all the way up to E flat 5 above tenor high C in this very light mechanism. It's the high C. And I love still how light she's keeping it, right? She's still not putting, we know she's got power up there. She's got power throughout her range, and she's really holding back. She's keeping it very light and breathy and intimate here. We still have a few minutes left in the song, so you can't use it all up too soon. They're both keeping it so light. Beautiful.
Утопаю в море твоей любви. Больше нет преград, больше нет войны. Что со мной? Что со мной? Пусть твоя улыбка подарит свет.
So they are doing two-part harmony here, which is awesome, and it's so crazy to hear their vocal colors because she is singing higher than him by about a third. That singing 1/3 apart generally works really well for harmonies. You sing a fifth apart, then you're doing what's called parallel fifths, and that's like a big no-no in musical composition. Parallel thirds works really well for harmonies. But it's interesting because his voice he's singing lower notes, she's singing higher notes, but her voice sounds darker than his. Her vocal timbre is just so much darker that even when she's singing higher, her voice still sounds darker and warmer. Really interesting. And she's still singing in a lighter mechanism, and he's really going full on. He's singing a little bit more powerfully now. And they're microphoned, right? There's a sound system, there's audio engineers. So no matter how loud either of them is singing, it's going to be balanced in the performance. So that gives them a lot of freedom to use different vocal colors, to sing softer or louder, depending on how they're feeling. And sound-wise to the audience, it's always going to be a nice balance, which is why you need really great live sound engineers running this kind of concert.
Утопаю в море твоей любви. Больше нет преград, больше нет войны. Что со мной? Что со мной?
I take back what I said about her singing lighter. They're both singing in this middle to upper chest kind of belt range. But her voice is just darker and warmer. His voice has more cut and more edge to it, so it sounded like she was doing a more kind of pulled off, softer sound, but it was really just the color. The color of her voice was misleading me. So I think they are both singing with some power here. That doesn't negate what I said about audio engineering and them having freedom to sing softer or louder, but in this case, they're both singing with a pretty decent amount of vocal power here.
Утопаю в море твоей любви. Больше нет преград, больше нет войны. Что со мной? Что со мной? Пусть твоя улыбка подарит свет. Я хочу встречать лишь с тобой рассвет. Что со мной? Где покой? Свои чувства мне.
Now, I don't know, is this a live recording from this performance? Because it's pretty perfect. I mean, the singing is pretty perfect. Are they wearing in-ear microphones? They're not even wearing in-ear microphones, which this is nothing, before anyone gets angry, this is nothing against them as performers. In big concerts like this, it is very common for the singers to either do a pre-recorded performance, so they record the performance live, but not during the show. They might do it the morning of, so they really nail it, and then it can be edited and made it, pretty flawless. It's not at all uncommon for that to be a thing, and it is very, very rare for singers to be performing in this big of a venue with this big of a sound system without in-ear microphones. Because what the problem with that is that you sing and then you hear the echo like a full second later. You hear your voice a second later coming off the back of the room. And that is almost impossible to perform in that kind of environment and not get completely off rhythm, off kilter. So what I would have expected in this performance is them to have in-ear microphones where they hear each other, they hear themselves, they hear the piano, and they hear the drum set so that everyone stays perfectly in time. So given all that information, this might be a pre-recorded performance, which is, again, nothing against them. This is just part of how performance works at this big of an event. So I'm not going to die on that hill, but just keep that in mind. And actually, why I noticed it is because their text was so perfectly lined up and together, which is also rare, especially with the no in-ear microphone. So maybe it's an absolutely flawless live performance. That is possible. It also very well might be pre-recorded.
Подарит свет. Я хочу встречать лишь с тобой
See, like that, the notes she just sang sound like they've been tuned, like they've been edited to be absolutely perfectly in tune in the middle of the pitch. And it's not that Deanna doesn't sing in tune. I've seen her perform a bunch at this point. She sings very well in tune, but there's a level of perfection in this performance that is, it's likely recorded before and edited for this performance. Listen to this part coming up. Like that right there. Listen to the level of perfection. Now, all that aside, all the information aside, let's get back to everything they're doing here. So we get down to this kind of bridge section where they go from singing these big, higher, more powerful notes back to singing a much more intimate kind of sound. And so it's really cool to hear them go from soft singing to powerful singing and then back to their really soft, more breathy, intimate singing. Right here, that's that transition. It's just absolutely beautiful. I will stand. I'm pretty sure this was recorded before, edited, very, very polished. If it's not, this is the most perfect, incredible live duet I've ever heard. And the fact that they're doing it without in-ear microphones is absolutely insane. So I'm standing by the pre-edit, pre-performance. And again, they're still singing all of it. Like, these are two amazing singers and amazing artists. So please don't take what I'm saying the wrong way. I'm just trying to be realistic with my analysis. Deanna's getting up there in her voice. So a high C belt from Deanna, that's actually that might be the highest I've ever heard her stay fully connected in her chest voice. I know vocal range, she's gone a lot higher before. But a tenor high C belt for her type of voice, that is actually quite high. And now this whole time they've remained in those third harmonies. Like, the last 2 minutes of the song have all been in these really wonderful, beautifully blended harmonies that are a third apart. Really, really awesome. Oh, nice little riff from Deanna. Hear that? Yeah, it's perfect. It's flawless. assume definitely the highest to have ever heard her sing. I was all the way up to D6 above soprano high C. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, guys, this just to be transparent, because I think it's real, there's a lot of misinformation in the music world about live versus recording. And what has happened is called the TikTokification of music, where people on TikTok and Instagram Reels and short form content will be acting like they're singing live. So they'll be doing something in the kitchen, no microphones around, and then they sing, and it is absolutely perfect, flawless. And there's actually a really great video. I will link it. Mason, please remind me. I'll link it here. There's a video of a singer explaining this beautifully, where she takes the audio from TikTok, puts it into her tuning software, and it is already perfect. No variation in pitch, like absolutely. So how tuning software works is it's measured in hundredths of the pitch. So if you shift it up 100 cents, you moved it up a half step. These TikTok singers will be 0. So, I mean, to the 100th of 1/2 step, perfectly in tune, but they're acting like it's live singing. It's really not great. And so I don't think this performance is meant to mislead anybody. This is not TikTok. This is a big scale concert performance where this kind of thing happens and makes more sense. But they are singing, like if you took their vocals out and threw it into tuning software, it would be perfect. It would be absolutely spot on, which is why it sounds so clean. And it basically sounds like a studio recording, even though they're performing in this giant space with, no in-ear microphones. It's not possible. Genuinely, I don't think it's possible. I've never heard it done. So this is just to shed a little light on how parts of the music industry works. I don't like when it happens on TikTok. I've never liked that, when it's disingenuous. This I'm totally fine with, because this performance, it makes so much sense for big performances like this to be flawless. And you don't want, like, what happens if one of them completely forgets the words in the middle? That happens. Performers forget words. Every world-class opera singer I've ever worked with forgets at least a couple words in every big performance. It's a thing that happens with live performance. So when there's a lot on the line, when the stakes are high, this might be a big donor event, this might be a big TV broadcast, you do not want the added risk of someone just making a big mistake, because it happens, because we're all human. So I totally understand it in this kind of situation. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I think it's a really important point. But just you guys know, it is common practice for this kind of thing to be a thing where it's a live performance, but it's actually either recorded before and edited really finely, like I think this one is, or just recorded before without the performance pressure, without the cameras on. So that's my TED Talk about the good and the bad of modern music online. Take that how you will. You guys know I love Deanna. I wouldn't be making videos for her if I didn't. And I also really love Brandon Stone's voice, but this is just information. Information, take with it what you will. On we go. Let's listen to Deanna sing high notes. I see. Hell yeah.
Открыл своим ключом. День, когда ты вошел в мой дом.
Лучший день, когда ты вошла в мой дом.
Absolutely stunning.
С Новым годом, друзья! Счастья и блага!
And the low he did sing down to a C3 there, which is the lowest we've heard him sing, and it had some really nice warmth to the sound. So clearly he's got more range than we were seeing in the rest of this performance. But obviously, I mean, very obviously a tenor voice and sounds just wonderful, especially in the upper middle and upper register. Really, really nice. But he's able to relax down into the more baritone register we've just heard. Right down to the low C.
Когда ты вошла в мой дом.
С Новым годом, друзья! Счастья и благополучия!
И чаще улыбайтесь, хорошо?
Very nice. Very, very, very awesome. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, just stunning voices. They sound so good together. It's just amazing to me. Diana's voice, even when singing higher, has that darker color to it. Brandon just has such a delicate, intimate sound, but then he gets up into his upper register and can really belt and bring power to it. We know Diana has power. We've heard it a bunch before. We got to hear her sing the highest note we've ever heard her sing. I'm pretty sure. D6 above soprano high C. I don't think she's ever sung higher than that. I've definitely never heard her flex her range higher than that. I think high A below that. So that's a big jump, big change for Diana. I hope you guys enjoyed. I loved this performance. Doesn't matter how they made it. They're both amazing performers. It's beautiful. It sounds beautiful. We love all of it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Diana video. Peace.